Hey guys, we are sitting down in the bright sunlight. I have my coffee. It's time to get ready. This says drinking coffee. I drink coffee. I drink coffee. This is my husband's fat Retouch coffee mug. I thought we would just do a Shop My Stash. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. I've never done a Shop My Stash on my channel before. The reason I've been meaning to do it is because the last year I've been testing all sorts of new makeup. I have been growing my collection immensely, and I have been ignoring a lot of products. I know that I do that. I think we all do that as our collection grows. So I want to go through my whole collection with you guys and just pick out the stuff that I think I've ignored probably the longest. So we're going to go through each of my drawers. We're going to pick out some items for a full face, and then we'll come back and sit down and put it on. Okay, so let's start in this first drawer with primers. I usually don't use primers these days. I've been skipping it a lot. What's the one that I really haven't used in the longest? Like, I want to use that one. The one that I have just ignored forever. You know what? I want to use this Tacha one. I had said on one of my declutter videos that I was going to try and use this up because there wasn't much left, and I haven't even used it or touched it since then. So I think we'll use the Tacha primer. I don't know if we want to use setting sprays. Again, not something I use that often, and I don't have that big of a collection simply because I don't use them that often. You know what? Let's use the Pixi setting mist. Seems like a light spray for today. Go down to foundations. I definitely have one in mind because this one I haven't touched in so long. This is the Dior Backstage for face and body, and they've just reformulated this. I don't know if it's launched yet. I think it has, but I haven't touched this in so long, and I used to love this. I probably haven't touched this the longest amongst all my foundations. So let's use this one today because I know I haven't touched this in like decades. It's a matte concealer, but I think it's still really good. I don't find that it's a drying concealer. This is the Too Faced Peach Concealer in the shade Pound Cake. I love this, honestly. I'm pretty picky when it comes to potted concealers, and I only have 3. There's actually a lot of powders I don't touch or haven't touched recently because I've been grabbing more for my pressed powders. I know which one I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna grab the Fenty one. I feel like I haven't touched this one in a really long time. This is the Pro Filt'r in Butter. Okay, so we'll use that one. This drawer is always a hot mess. I want to use a brow product that I haven't touched in a while, but I have so few. Honestly, I try and rotate these out pretty frequently. I feel like the one I haven't used in the longest is my Dior, but it's such a dark shade. Maybe I'll go into this Sephora one because I don't really reach for that one this often. I usually go for my Benefit Precisely My Brow. So let's use that one. And I keep mascaras in here. I don't know. It seemed like it made sense. And anything at the bottom is stuff that I haven't touched in forever. You know what? Let's use this Lancôme Tint Idôle mascara. I have not reached for this in a while, and if it's bad, it's got to go because it's on the older side. Everything at the bottom here is stuff I haven't touched. I honestly need to do like a mascara declutter because this is ridiculous. They dry out, you know, and they're overflowing. All right, I'm gonna get a clean sponge, and then we have the choice of either going cream blush or powder blush. What is one that I haven't touched in forever? You know, I'm sitting here looking, but honestly, I think I haven't touched my bareMinerals bronzer in a while. This one is in Kiss of Copper. They recently just expanded the shade ranges on this too. I'm not gonna pick it up, but I haven't touched this one. I feel like the longest out of probably all of them. So I think this one will be good for today. And also, yeah, we'll skip cream blush. And also with the bronzer, should we do powder or should we do cream? This is my powder drawer. What is one I haven't touched in a minute? And you know what? It's gonna be this one. I love this, and I haven't touched this in a hot minute. This is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It. This one, I think it's in, yeah, 01 Light. Okay, and this is a pretty like light radiant bronzer. So yes, do a highlighter, but let's do a more natural highlighter today. What's one that I haven't touched? I just did a highlighter ranking video recently, and this one was pretty low. Let's use this one, the Milani Baked Highlighter in Dolce Perla. I haven't grabbed for this in a while. It's a more natural highlighter. Let's use it. Let's go down to the lip products. I think I just want like a light colored gloss. Those are my more round ones. Here's most of my glosses. I don't want a bright colored lip. You know what? I haven't used this in a minute. This is the Stila, I think it's the Beauty Boss, yeah, lip gloss. And this one should be in the shade Synergy, I'm pretty sure. And if it's right side up, yeah, Synergy. So it's like a pinky pearlescent gloss. Yeah, let's use that one. Okay, we are on to eyeshadows. This whole thing is eyeshadows. Actually, the last three aren't full, so I can grow my collection. But I know which one I want to grab, not this drawer, because I haven't touched it. I don't know, it must be 2 years. The Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. Have not touched this darn thing in forever. Let's use this one. Okay, so I think we picked some items that are like pretty natural. Like I think we're gonna get a pretty natural look, which is good because I'm wearing like, you know, a pretty wrinkly shirt, hair is up. I'm just gonna go and clean after this. But I wanted to feel put together. I didn't put on any makeup yesterday, so I don't know. I want a little something to make me feel good. So we'll start with the Tacha Liquid Silk Canvas. I have not touched this in, I don't even want to admit how long it's been since I've used this. I do like this. It's nice and thin and like soft. And so if you want something that doesn't really mess with your foundation, but gives you hydration, I think this is really good. I would like to try and use this up if I can. I want to do like a project pan, I think, sometime this year, like start it and then see if I can finish it off in 2023. Let's go in with this concealer to prime the eyes. One thing about this concealer is that it's so good for like spot concealing, plus under the eyes, plus priming the eyes. I mean, any concealer really, but this one is pretty full coverage. I'm just gonna go into my BK A506. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy Concealer Brush, and I'm gonna prime my eyes. You know, nobody really talks about this concealer. It has this sweet peach smell, but it is such a good full coverage, like matte, creaseless potted concealer. And a lot of potted concealers I found like they're just too heavy, or at least like the full coverage potted concealers, but this is one of the few that really is creaseless and not too heavy. I don't think I could ever use this up. Like I'd have to use this exclusively. It barely even looks like I've made a dent in it. So we picked out the Fenty Pro Filt'r setting powder in butter. I have not touched this in a while. I bet it's like overflowing. Yeah, it is. I'm just gonna use a damp sponge, not damp, dry sponge, and then set my eyes really quickly. I've gone through phases with this powder. It has been too dry at certain stages for me. And then as my skin has gotten more combo or normal to combo as I start to get older, I probably had this powder for about 2 years now. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I've definitely had this powder for 2 years, or probably coming up on 2 years. My skin has gone through so many changes in the last, I don't know, 8 months. Heavier powders that I've been pulling back out of my collection have really been working for me the way that they hadn't in the past, and I think I kept a lot of them for reference, not to necessarily like use, but as I've been kind of rotating through my collection, as I do try and do occasionally, some of those heavier powders have been working. So I'm interested to see what this one looks like using it again, because it has been, when I first got it, a heavier powder for me. Let's go into the eyeshadow palette. You guys, I have not touched this thing in so long. I don't even know why I keep it, because I have so many newer palettes that I just enjoy the formula so much more, and I hate to rag on it as I'm about to use it, but at the same time, I don't think this quality is as good as like some of my newer palettes. I'm just gonna dip into the shade Limit and do a transition. Plus these pans are a little ridiculous. This is another one that I picked up like right at the start of my makeup collection journey, which had to have been in like 2020. So I've had this palette for like 3 years. And I've probably used it, if I'm being totally honest, 5 times. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just that I bounce around so much. Makeup is such an addiction that like sticking with one thing over and over again is so hard because you're like, ooh, I want to try that. That shiny new syndrome, oof, it gets me when it comes to makeup. I used to be a big shopper of like clothes and shoes and purses, but look at my shirt, it's all wrinkly. I don't even care anymore. I think when you get to a certain age, you're just like, not to say that I don't like to like look good when I go to work, but I feel like I can get things that I like that last me just as long if I go to an expensive department store or like find that same thing in Ross. Okay, I'm switching brushes. This is such a cool tone palette, I think, which was really the appeal for a lot of people. But boy, if you've ever watched any one of my eyeshadow videos, or me talking about eyeshadows rather, you know that I'm just not a huge fan of cool tone shadows on my super fair skin. Something about cool tone shadows on fair skin, to me, in my personal preference, when I'm looking at it, I do not care for the way that it looks. And I know that everyone is into cool tone shadows. Like, it's the thing. Warm tones might be making a comeback right now, but cool tone shadows for sure have had their moment. You know, this kind of sucks that you get these very pinky shades. I'm gonna rag on this color story for a second. And then you do not have like a deeper shade that's like this mauve-y color. You go from, okay, transition, kind of crease, and then bam, like it's just a gray. Like, okay, well, I guess I'm going gray then. And that's how we're gonna build it up, is with this weird gray shade called Dark Side. Anyway, I know that a lot of people are really into cool tone shadows, and a lot of people with fair skin like cool tone shadows, but I don't know, you guys. And maybe it's just on me. I just can't seem to fall in love with cool tone shades, on me at least. I'm actually gonna pick up this one in Trick because it's this, you know what? This packaging is starting to piss me off. I've picked up this shade so many times. This one in Dust, which is like the lightest shimmer shade, but I'm gonna stay away from that today, and I'm gonna go into Trick because I don't even know if I've ever used this shade, to be honest. It might be a little too dark for me and might not show up. It doesn't really. Like, it's okay, but I wanted kind of a brightening shade. So now I feel like I'm just gonna layer it on top of each other. You know, decluttering my eyeshadows is the hardest category in all of my makeup. I'm going into that Dust shade now. You guys, I would love to hear from you. What is the hardest makeup category for you guys to declutter? Okay, so I hate these shimmers. There's nothing about them. And I have other cool tone palettes. I don't know, if I was gonna do a declutter, I'd probably, like, this would be one that I would get rid of. I feel like I have kept it for reference or just collection purposes in general, but it's just not, like, there's so many other good palettes out there. Okay, little baby hairs are driving me nuts. I even think Urban Decay has stepped up their shimmer formula, but this just isn't, I just wouldn't reach for this normally. Like, that's why it's sat in my collection for so long. I don't know, just not super pigmented. Shimmers are not there for me. Let's go into the Dior Backstage Face and Body. I have mine in the shade 1.5N. I used to love this. I wore it all the time, but this one is definitely getting on the older side at this point. I'm just going to, I think, do a light layer today. This is just a really non-offensive, very light, very smooth foundation. You know, I can't even say it's a foundation. It's like a tinted moisturizer, honestly. It just doesn't provide very much coverage, and it's very liquidy. So it's always called itself a foundation, face and body foundation, but I don't know. It's more like a tinted moisturizer for me. We're just gonna go for a light look, so I think that's probably good. It is so beautiful on the skin. Like, I have to say, if you're looking for something just very light coverage, this is awesome. And I think for like a foundation, or just a lighter foundation, I guess, it's actually pretty long lasting. And I think that's probably what I liked about it. I'm gonna go into this concealer using the same concealer brush. Also, really, really good for spot concealing, honestly. Like, even if you didn't want to use a full coverage concealer under your eyes, This one is so good for spot concealing. I actually find that potted concealers work better for spot concealing than liquid ones, in my opinion, because they have that tack to them and they really do stay put. I'm going back into the Fenty Pro Filter setting powder and I'm going to set under my eyes and my nose. I'm going in with a pretty heavy layer on this. You know, the powder smells delightful. Like, I have to give it that. I have noticed like there is fragrance in a lot of the stuff that I have been using. Like, this definitely has a smell. The Dior one is very, very slight. Even the Tacha has kind of like, I want to say the green tea smell. The concealer is peachy. I'm just gonna brush this off with my brush. This is such a brightening powder also. All right, let's go into the bronzer and we'll warm up the complexion. I'm so excited to try this. This is one of my favorites. And I just try so many new bronzers that this one just gets ignored. This is such a luminous, like silky. It's almost like putty. It's so soft, but it's so neutral toned, great and light. Like, it's just a non-offensive, kind of slightly radiant bronzer. Not a lot of companies do it. Honestly, like, do it this well. That's just such a light radiance while being a really neutral tone. Such a good bronzer. I just went and used the Pixi makeup fixing mist just to kind of like get rid of some of the powder that was sitting pretty heavy on my face. I really do love this stuff, you guys. It's not a setting spray. I mean, it is a makeup setting mist. I just never think it like overtly sets my makeup. It just refreshes everything. Every time I feel like a powder is too heavy, I reach for this. I have used this one probably more than any other setting spray, honestly. A lot does come out though. The one downside to this is that this freaking thing just drenches you, but it never like seems to like mess up anything. Once you just like leave it and you let it dry, I don't know, it really refreshes my makeup. I love that. I think I'll always probably have that in my collection. Let's go into brows, just to put them on really quickly. This is my Sephora retractable brow pencil. This one is waterproof and it's in the shade 1.5 taupe. I don't reach for this one that often, but honestly, it's so good. It does remind me very much of my Benefit Precisely My Brow, and I think this is a tremendously cool toned shade. And I think that like when you're going for kind of a makeup, no makeup look, like if you're into retractable brow pencils, like the best way to make it look really natural is to get one that really matches the shade of your brows perfectly. And I just like the range in the Sephora retractable brow pencils, similarly to the range in the Benefit Precisely My Brow, just because I think they do cool tones, some of the best that I've ever tried. Let's go into the blush. So this one is in Kiss of Copper, the bareMinerals bronzer. This one is so pigmented that it's not going to be like a super light blush. Oh yeah, I can sheer it out, but this is a pretty pigmented product anyway. It is so good. I mean, I don't understand what they were going for when they said like it's a blush and a bronzer. I think they were just trying to be innovative, if I'm being honest, but it is a really good formula. I think it's quite a long lasting blush as well. It's beautiful. It's got a tiny bit of radiance to it. In terms of like powder blushes, the long lasting ones that I have, the Charlotte Tilbury Chic to Chic and the Hourglass and this one are like my longest lasting powder formula blushes that aren't like indie brand. A lot of my indie brand ones are really long lasting, but in terms of like the ones that you can get at Ulta and Sephora. Okay, now going into the Milani Baked Highlighter in Dolce Perla. If you guys saw my highlighter ranking video, this is on the lighter side, and so it's not my favorite, but because I kind of prefer something a little bit more punchy. But I did say in that video that there is a time and place for a lighter highlighter. If you guys like something that's like light and natural, I think this is really good. And I'm gonna throw on this gloss next from Stila. This one is in Synergy. I honestly have like thought about decluttering this one so many times, but then every time I wear it, I'm reminded how beautiful this color is and how beautiful this formula is that I can't. And honestly, it still smells really good. So I don't think this product has gone bad. However, I have had it for a while. It does have a shelf life of 18 months, so that's pretty long for a gloss, honestly. And I think I've probably had this probably just over 18 months now. Anyway, I think these are really good. Nobody talks about these. I think Stila still makes them. Let's go into the Lancôme Tint Idôle. This one is definitely on the older side. Like, I've had it longer than 6 months, so you guys, the mascara is not gonna work. The top just pulled out. So the stopper is right here. You know, I did find this with this product once before because I have repurchased this. This is a repurchase for me, that the stopper kept like coming out, and I'm not down to try and dig it out of there. I'm not gonna get my hands in there for all of that. Okay, it worked. I was able to shove it back in. I do really like this mascara. Like I said, I have repurchased it, I think twice. It's just a lighter mascara. Like, it really combs through your lashes nicely. It doesn't provide a huge amount of volume. It just kind of is more of a natural mascara, and I like that. Although I've been going for much more like volumizing mascaras lately, whereas before I was always reaching for like lengthening mascaras, and I think that's why this one was really good, because I think it's just a good lengthening mascara, but it also grips like every lash and like really combs through them nicely. It still feels like it has a lot of liquid left in it. Like, it has life. I want to know how long you guys keep your makeup past expiration date. Like, tell me in the comments how long you keep things for, because I know we don't all get rid of it at expiration date. I want to know. I will easily keep my products a year or more. That was everything. I'm totally done. That was nice. That didn't take me too long. It was fun. I definitely haven't reached for some of these products in a while. I don't even want to tell you how long it's been since I reached for this mascara. I don't even want to tell you how long it's been since I've reached for this. Everything here, I'm telling you, like, I haven't touched in a minute. It feels good. I liked everything. Like, the palette is good for a lighter eye day. This is a work eye. I can dig it. I feel springy and fresh. And now I'm gonna go clean my garage. That is it. You guys, I hope this video inspires you to go shop your stash, and I need to remember to pull out my makeup more often for the things that I know that I've liked or had a feeling about, and test them out again. Just try and rotate through my collection, and then really take some of my favorites and use them up. I'm gonna try and do some sort of pan project probably by the end of this year and into next year. I have no idea if I'll be able to do it, but I'm gonna try. This would be my first time ever making an attempt since I grew my collection. I think I'm gonna end it here, you guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I am out of here, and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye.